So architects have a jurisdiction. You can't be a licensed architect for another province or another state or another country. And it kind of makes sense. Each place has its own kind of set of rules. And it's hard to imagine an architect that is from, from Manitoba or from Alberta to design something that's in Quebec and be held liable to that. Kind of makes sense, right? And so I have a contact out in Alberta, and they're like, oh, would you like to design some townhouses? I would love to do that. So the answer is yes, but of course they need a local architect to review our work, to check the local bylaws and provincial building codes, because there's things in Alberta that we don't know. You know, the snow loads are different. There might be earthquake. There might be different kind of it's different kind of set of conditions. And also the local codes are based on. So the building code is written for a bunch of things. I can give a whole primer about this. There's things about life safety, smoke alarms, those kind of things. There's about equality, accessibility. So people able-bodied or not fully able-bodied, there's a bit of equality in the building codes. Buildings should be designed for the majority of people as possible. So there's things like handicap accessibility, those kind of things. We don't say handicap, sorry. Barrier-free accessibility, things like that. Then there's other things that are about energy efficiency. And in a province, there might be a whole aspect of trying to hit certain standards, certain energy efficiency standards. Basically making buildings perform better. We've had experience with projects before in particularly Alberta, where energy is not, for those of you who don't know, a lot of the oil gets extracted, a lot of energy gets extracted out of Alberta. So energy is relatively cheap in that province. So there's less of a mandate to be energy efficient versus in other provinces where energy is more expensive, or there's more of an initiative for green initiatives or things like that. Alberta's just not one of them. And so we've already done some projects in the past in Alberta, and the requirements for insulation, very simple thing, insulating your buildings, is so light in Alberta. It's shockingly thin, because heating and cooling, or basically heating, especially in the wintertime, is not seen as such a bad thing. From our standpoint, it's terrible, but it's just different. Each place has a different kind of political climate that affects the way buildings are regulated. Put it that way. And so this is one kind of example of regulation. And for you guys that don't know, architects are they are local to the place. Like even the most famous architects, Sir Norman Foster or Ome, or all these international architects, when they do a project that's somewhere else, that's outside of their jurisdiction, they would be the design architect, but there would be a stamping architect local that takes in the designs from that architect, scrubs it through based on the local kind of regulations, and then submits it for permits or bylaws or site plan approvals, things like that, on their behalf. And it's a bit of a joint venture in a way, but it makes a lot of sense, because there's things at each place that we're just not aware of. Yeah. That's a bit of a primer of that. And yeah, hopefully we might have some projects in Alberta. I'm very excited for that potential. But if it doesn't work out, no harm, no foul, but we're going to try. And hopefully we can impart some of our ideas and inject that into another province and go from there. This is Architect on the Move. I'm Jason. Cheers.